Hey guys, Drifter here. The gameplay that you're watching is from a game that happened a couple of days ago where me, MLC Stealth, and iTemp were all going for Moabs. We wanted to have 3 commentators, 3 Moabs, 1 game, and I was the odd man out. I could never quite pull it off. MLC Stealth and iTemp always managed to get Moabs and like double Moabs with each other, like bro fisting in the air with lightnings and unicorns and shit, but I could never quite pull off that level of gameplay. This game that you're about to see starts off a little bit slow. I'm using my ACR Moab hunting class here, and for some reason about halfway in, the enemy team just decides to throw themselves at me in waves of 2 and 3. Like, all my single kills go out the window, and it's nothing but a double and triple and multi-kill frenzy for some reason. No idea why. That's how it worked out. Trust me, the gameplay is going to pick up in just a minute, but today I'm here to talk to you about how to get in touch with your favorite commentators, or any commentator for that matter, and how they like to deal with people. So, everybody here wants to sit down and have a chat with Syndicate, or Woody's Gamertag, or Pwnstar, and a lot of these other people, or even smaller commentators, even in like the 5,000-10,000 range. Yeah, everybody's worth a number. I hate that, but it was quote-unquote smaller commentators. It's very, very difficult to get in touch with these people. I get messages in my inbox. It's like, hey Drifter, you should do a video with insert favorite commentator here, and I go look at their channel and they have like 189,000 subscribers, and I'm like, there's no way in hell that I can get in touch with these people. It's not like we at Machinima all hang out in a big dorm and big office and have like private phone lines or anything. I have to go through the same methods that you guys do, hitting up Twitter, sending private messages, business emails, that kind of stuff to get in touch with some people. And it's very difficult. It's easier on Skype because you can just ask somebody, oh, do you have this contact or not? But a lot of times it does come back to the Twitter and other things. So the first and most important thing about getting in touch with your commentator is you have to understand how this is going to look from their point of view. So I'll explain it from my point of view. Now, my point of view is not a XJaw's point of view. I'm at a much smaller volume than he is. But rule number 1 is you need to respect the commentator. And I say respect not in terms of like this is the most awesome thing ever and it is a celebrity and you should bow down to him or her and that we are so awesome at gaming that we demand respect. It's more of a please don't stalk me everywhere I go. In this game right here, you're going to see a guy whose name is Dwayne04. He saw Stealth and iTemp and I in another game, and he'd followed us through like 4 other games, and he was hunting us, specifically us, going like way out of his way to kill us before anybody else, like suicide rushing our other teammates just to get to us. Very, very annoying, very bad thing to do. You never want to stalk your commentators online. Like if you see somebody online that you recognize, you can shoot them a message, say hello, something. Everybody's cool with that. Like every commentator I've ever played with was totally cool with that. What gets people's goat really quickly, does for me too, is when you're online and they follow you from game to game. Like you leave a game and the next game you join, like the same 2 or 3 people join after you and you see them from the other game. You know they're stalking you. It's obvious, especially when they're hunting you. It's very annoying and disrespectful. This is kind of like in high school. If you want to be with a certain crowd of people, the worst way to go about it is just follow them everywhere they go and stare at them. Awful. Please don't do that. It really bothers me. It bothers a lot of other people. The next thing you need to understand is message volume. In a situation where I am at a measly like 60,000 subscribers, something like that, I probably get 25 to 30 messages a day in my inbox on YouTube, and I get easily over 50 on Twitter. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but let's just assume that each one of those messages on Twitter and my inbox I took time to think about, and I spent somewhere between 1 to 2 minutes doing it. That means that I spend 1 to 2 hours of my day, every single day, just replying to messages. That's probably more time than most of you spend doing homework. So you have to be patient there, and you have to understand that there are tons and tons of messages coming through, some of which I just don't answer. I can't answer. I get crazy messages. I get stuff about reptilian aliens. I get stuff about, this is my favorite gun and these are my favorite attachments. I want you to review my gun with these attachments. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. Or some messages that are very garbled and mangled and I can't read them, so I don't have to worry about it. So you got to be patient there. The bigger the commentator is, whatever number count they're at, the worse that message volume is going to be. So you have to be patient with them, and you can't just expect replies. And the YouTube inbox is not an email address. You can't expect instant replies either. I've had to send private messages to people. Sometimes they answer, sometimes they don't. I know that Wicked Shrapnel checks his inbox. I check mine. Stealth checks his. Pwnstar tries. He can't keep up. Woody's Gamertag, I think his wife does it. Other people have a very difficult time. Wings of Redemption, surprisingly, as big of a sub count, old school gamer as he is, he actually checks his inbox frequently, and he's very easy to get in touch with. Now, let's talk about how you actually want to go about getting in touch with people. Step number one is you need to know who the hell it is that you're talking to. And I know that seems ridiculous, but you need to know what is their likelihood of replying. You need to know what kind of size commentator they are, how many followers they have, how many Twitter followers they have, you know, what their show is, what they do, and kind of expect that they're going to hit, oh, they're getting 5 messages a day, they're getting 20, they're getting 2,000 messages a day up there in like the syndicate level. He probably gets like 500 to 1,000 messages a day. Very, very low odds that yours are going to get read. So you have to know your commentator, know their personality, know if they like to interact with people or not, and once you know that, everything else gets a lot easier. Now, there are ways to get guaranteed replies, such as tweeting at somebody often. Oftentimes I'll ask a question on Twitter and I get like 10, 15 replies. I don't necessarily then go and reply to each one of those, but those names I do remember. They stick with me. I'll remember them in an open lobby. I'll remember them elsewhere. If somebody sends me a message, instead of ignoring it, I'll see this guy and be like, oh, he tweeted me like 10 times. You know, I should probably talk to him. He obviously cares about this. The same thing goes with comments down there on the videos. Every single commentator that I know, they always read their comments. Whether they tell you they do or don't, that doesn't mean they read every last one of them. They don't read comments from like 5 months ago, but everybody in about the first hour that the video goes out, they like to sit there and watch those comments grow and get bigger and bigger and better and more awesome. So right there in that little time is the best opportunity to leave a comment. Even if your comment isn't replied to, it's often read, and a lot of people notice. I do this. I recognize names. Like, I read the comments and I see people that comment often, so I have a general feel for who you are. Other commentators do the same thing. Now, in these messages that you're sending, and this especially applies to inbox messages more than anything else, like private messages and emails, proper spelling and grammar will go a very, very long way. This YouTube is not a cell phone. Even if you're on a cell phone, this is not the appropriate place for a text or what would I call it, cell phone texting chat kind of grammar. It looks very, very bad. And even if you are the smartest person in the world, if you send me weird grammar or odd abbreviations and stick numbers in places where they shouldn't be, you know, no capital letters, no periods, it gets ignored very, very quickly. That doesn't mean that you have to worry about dotting your I's and crossing your T's and all the nuances of English grammar, especially if you're not a native English speaker, but some people like to vomit words onto a page and just kind of assume that it all makes sense. This happens often with the ghost story thing. I'll get one giant text block, like a paragraph that hasn't been formatted in any way. There's no capital letters, no periods. About half the words are misspelled, and there's random like numbers sprinkled all over the place. You can't read it. I mean, it's like somebody threw alphabet soup at a page. The more concise you are, the more likely it is to get read. Now, when we go to concise here, if you can cut straight to the point quickly, you can get read very, very quickly. A friend of mine, Andre, Midnight Design, he was the partnering manager at Yoush, and he's one of the best graphics artists. He got in touch with, Jesus, I don't know how many people, just because he would send a message, and the message would say something to the line of, free graphics effects from professional designer, or professional designer wants to make you a YouTube background, and you click on the message. It would be like 2 or 3 paragraphs. It would be addressed specifically to you. It wouldn't be a random one that people copy and paste. Everything was spelled right. The grammar was correct. Links to products, links to, so like, it was direct to people. Everybody replied to him, and I mean everybody. No commentator, no matter what their size, they didn't ignore him. So he got in touch with a lot of people. Now, you have to make sense. You don't send hate. You don't hit spam, but like Andre, you have to be relevant to people's interests. Now, if it's something that you're really interested in and the commentator is not, they're probably going to ignore you. But if you can relate it to something that they're interested in, they read it more often. Like in my inbox, if I see a bunch of things and I see one message that say tips for in-depth, new glitch for in-depth, I have an idea for you, or actually have an idea for you is too general. People get really mad about those ideas if you say that you don't like the idea. But hey, I found out this neat new thing in Modern Warfare 3. I read those first. Those get priority. And even if the grammar and spelling isn't too hot, I'll check it out to see what's going on here. Now, when people send other messages, maybe not so much. So there you have it. It's pretty simple. You tweet often, you comment often. Maybe not in some private messages too often. Be respectful, use good grammar, be concise, appeal to interest, use that psychological behavior. But the last thing you need to deal with is managing your expectations. I'd hate to refer to myself, or especially a lot of these other people, as internet celebrities, but a lot of you see me and us that way. I guess it's kind of weird to say that you're part of a community. I don't really like being part of a community. That's an entirely different commentary for a different date. But anyway, you can expect the commentator or celebrity to be exactly like whatever their content or product is. Everybody expects the big gameplay commentators to have awesome gameplay in every single game without fail. That's not true. I mean, everybody's a human being. They screw up, they have faults. They expect the funny commentators to constantly be cracking jokes just as hard, just as fast, and just as perfect as they do on the live streams and in other kind of events, edited things mostly. And it just doesn't work that way. The best way to continually talk to somebody, to hang around and stay friends with somebody, is what Troy the Mark recommended to me, is just treat somebody like they're a person, because everybody's just a bro or brodette, a girl bro, I don't know, whatever. You're just normal people, just like to hang out and play video games. Nobody wants to be a clown and entertain you for hours and hours, so just be nice, treat people respectful, be concise, cool, and we'll all just chillax and play some Call of Duty and Halo and maybe some Left 4 Dead or something like that together. Drifter out.